So, if you want to play this game, well, it's more than a game. We're talking serious stakes here. I'm going to give you a few tips on how you can protect yourself. First of all, you're going to need a dedicated room or a dedicated space in order to practice your rituals. So, we can have a room, and that room is dedicated to, for your rituals. It's not to be used for any other purpose. I'm sure you may store some stuff in there, but that's it. Something like a spare bedroom. But usually it's not practical because you just don't have the space to do these things. So you're going to have a dedicated space within your house or unit or apartment. And you're going to dedicate it that it's used for that purpose and nothing else. You might have to shift some furniture around. So that's one thing you're going to have. You're going to have a temple, prayer room, something like that, in order to conduct rituals. So once you've decided where your dedicated space is, you have to ensure that it is clean. Clean as possibly can be done. It's not a matter of style, but a matter of substance. If you try and clean an area up, then that's what you'll be rewarded for, your dedication. You will have to ensure that you have a facing in that room, which allows you to pray to the east. If you're using Kabbalah, you will have to face east, due east. You, if possible, maybe have something like a small table or a type of drawer, small, which you can use for your altar, and that has to be facing east. You should, purify the air in a symbolic way as well as a practical way. This can be done by burning frankincense. Frankincense is generally accepted as the incense for purification of an area. And for a dedicated space, and you should ensure that you can stretch your arms out, so to speak. The circle wise, make it 2 meters by 2 meters at the least. And you should have that dedicated area. The outline of the space, you actually line it with salt. I know it sounds something you'd see in some sort of goth movie or something, but yes, you've got to have a defined physical barrier. So you're starting off from the east, and it's best to do by hand, not by plastic, plastic container. Start off at east and go clockwise around. You don't have to drench the area in salt or anything like that. You just have to do enough for a symbolic outline. This will show that the space that you'll be conducting your rituals in is dedicated. You could go a bit further, depending on your flooring or such as sprinkling holy water around, as long as it's done in a clockwise motion, starting due east, it shouldn't be a problem. But you've got to have a dedicated area for business to occur. These are a dedicated area. You can't go in there and just, I don't know, have sex or treat it like a rubbish tip or anything like that. It has to be dedicated. So, once you have your defined space, you're gonna, now I'm only assuming you're a complete novice, a complete amateur. You're gonna have to more or less dedicate yourself, and this isn't a cult type thing. In Psalm 119, which you get with the Bible, which has both Old Testament and New Testament, usually the Psalms are in the middle. Psalm 19 says you should pray 7 times a day. Most Christians don't realise that. And why 7 times a day? It doesn't specifically say, but it's to do with the planetary hours. 1 prayer for each planetary hour per day. So, is it possible for you to, stop everything and, just pray some long prayer? No. At least once every planetary hour, you're going to have to, it only has to be a few words. You praise God. Praise God as revealed by Abraham, the father of the Lord Jesus Christ. Things like that. There should be plenty of prayers or sayings, that you can come up with. You might get them from the Bible, you might get them from some sort of prayer book. As long as the Trinity is praised as the one God, you should be fine. You should do that for about a week before you even attempt to perform any magic ritual, ceremonial spells. Just to, clean up your act, so to speak. Now, with your dedicated space, you might feel the need to put up crucifixes, religious icons. That's okay, but they shouldn't be the dominant theme of such a dedicated space, whether it's a room or whether it's just an area of a room which you use. I would, probably have crucifixes, religious items around the residence, where you live. Assuming you're doing this in your house, your unit, whatever. But not make them the central focus of your dedicated space. The reason why it's good to have such things, but it's not absolutely necessary, although they do make good art, is because once you get the ball rolling, you will most likely get attention from dybbuks. Now, dybbuks are basically low-ranked demons, the demons you seldom hear about or read about in any religious text. You've got 2 types of dybbuks. One is residential, the other is personal. Residential dybbuks, they come with the house you live in, the place where you live. Personal dybbuks, They take an interest in you. Now, dybbuks, I've had a dybbuk annoy me, and I've known other people have had dybbuks. Dybbuks are more annoying, if anything, sort of like punk kids. They take an interest in you because you are doing something they take an interest in. They might just see what you're like. Now, I could tell you, you can go, oh, Jesus, 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 save me. But I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to say that. You will find that you will be somewhat negotiating with them. More or less, okay, you get out of my house, you don't annoy me inside the house, and in return, I will, have a considerate frame of mind, in regards to your plight. So dybbuks are basically like kids looking for attention. I'll leave you alone if you give me something, and that might be to pray for them, but you have to get their name. If they don't give you a name, don't do nothing for them. Or, something that puts them in a step in putting them into a good stead with God. It's things like that. Like I said, demons are basically people without bodies. And, it's just something you have to deal with, And if they do show up, don't go around screaming, Jesus help me. That doesn't impress anyone. What you have to do, and I'm only telling you this because this is a possibility. If you've played poker and you get dealt a good hand, and let's say you can clean up chips, you can clean up money. Let's say in a poker game you're dealt 4 aces. You don't go, oh wow man, I got 4 aces, I'm going to beat you dudes. Because nobody's going to put money into the pot. You're going to have a poker face to contain your joy. Or if you're dealt a really bad hand and there's a lot of money in the pot, you're going to need a poker face to disguise your worry. You cannot at all, ever, display emotions to the demons. If you have a tell, that's it. You're not going to be able to negotiate with them. You're not going to be able to pull a fast one over them. It's like dealing with a random person in some sort of business deal. You cannot show emotion. You've got to have a poker face. You don't panic. You've got to be as a statue. So, what else? You've got to earn their respect. And they will help you because, well, they may not want to help you, but when push comes to shove, they will. Because God decides what their place is, as much as He decides what our place is. And, you're faithful to God, you do the right thing, you get looked after. But see it as, what, in this series, I don't specifically intend to target demons. I intend to target atheists. You know, demons will kind of protect atheists because, you know, as stupid as atheists are, they do have some sort of stooge value. Because, you know, if you go to an atheist and say, oh, do you believe in God? They'll say, no, I don't believe in God, I hate God, God's this, God's that, blah, blah, blah. And if you say to them, do you believe in Satan? They won't answer. They'll say, oh, what a stupid question, I'm not going to answer that. That's beneath me. That will compromise my dignity if I answer that. They can't bring themselves to renounce Satan. But, and here's something you should aim at, if you get atheists to renounce Satan, could be a simple thing as saying, look, all you have to say is, I don't believe in Satan, I don't believe in Lucifer, I don't believe in Moloch, I reject any order associated with them. They do not exist and they are not worthy of my recognition. Saying something like that is a big no-no in Satanism. You do not deny the Satan, ever. Once you do that, any demonic protection that you had is gone. And it's a free-for-all, because an atheist, you know, renounces God. If you get them to renounce Satan, that's it. There's no protection for them. And, you know, in this matter, it is possible for a believer in the God, the only God, as revealed by Abraham, we can call it the God of the Trinity. His unity is one. It is permissible, I believe, for you, as a servant of God, to establish contact with demons or dybbuks, to go after atheists, because there's nothing to protect them. So, what else? That's it. Oh, the sign of the cross. You know, most people go by the Catholic cross, but this is not strictly correct. It goes from up, down. Well, it's on this webcam, it's doing it in reverse, so do it. Top, bottom. Where it should be. But up, down, right, left. Not left, right. And, you know, as this is dragging on a bit, I think I'll end it here. But, you know, just to give you an idea, you're going to need a dedicated space, and you're going to have to remember, pray. You know, you're going to have to, you know, pray on a regular basis. You know, make it decent. If you can't do it 7 or 8 times a day, it's like lifting weights, or like a boxer lifting weights. You're going to have some punching power if you're going to throw punches. But, you know, by the time I finish everything, you know, this series, I'll just remind you what needs to be done. So,